Hey everybody, today we've got the best case scenario for the Republicans in the upcoming Senate elections. We already took a look at the Democrats, now we're going to do the GOP. And keep in mind, this is the best reasonable case scenario. It's not going to be completely crazy. However, we really don't know the impact of the Trump shooting / assassination attempt. It's possible that has a real effect on some of these down ballot races. We'll update it as we go, but for now, this is going to be a red wave type of scenario. I'm assuming there's going to be a little bit of sympathy for Trump, but I'm not going to put a ton of weight on that just yet. But basically, the Democrats flounder and the Republicans run stronger campaigns, and the winds of the national environment are at their back. And the Republicans need to flip one seat for a 50-50 tie. Then the controlling party would be whoever wins the White House. So let's get into the map. First, we're going to do the safe states for the Democrats. These are expected to be over a 10-point margin. So even on a great GOP night, Democrats are still going to get Hawaii, Washington, California. Then in the East Coast, Independents Angus King in Maine and Bernie Sanders in Vermont. Those are going to stay safe blue. Then New York, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, and Delaware. Those are all the safe states for the Dems. And again, it's still too early. We've got some primaries left to get through. You could come up with a fringe scenario in Washington, maybe a three-way race in Maine where the margin does get under 10. Those are just unreasonable for me at this point. Now, the safe states for the Republicans. We've got Utah, Wyoming, North Dakota, Nebraska, the Nebraska Special, Missouri, Indiana, Tennessee, Mississippi, West Virginia. That is going to be a flip and a pickup for the GOP. And I've got one more. It's borderline, but I have Texas going just over 10 points for Ted Cruz. Now we could do the likely states for the Democrats, and these are expected to be between 5 and 10 point margins. In other words, there's an outside chance they could get competitive. So for the Dems, we've got New Mexico. And this is an interesting state. Last year, it looked like the Republicans were not going to be in contention here whatsoever, but their nominee is Nella Domenici. Her dad was a longtime U.S. Senator there, but the Democrats have incumbent Martin Heinrich. He's kind of a low-key senator. He's definitely going to be favored to win. There's a chance this turns into a dark horse race, but for now, I'm going to say this goes likely for Heinrich, the Democrat. Then we're going to go up to Minnesota, and this has Amy Klobuchar, the incumbent Democrat. She's won by massive margins in the past. I expect her to win easily this time, so got a primary to get through for the Republicans. I've had this as safe for Klobuchar, even on a great night for the GOP, so you could leave it at that, but I can see that it's not entirely unreasonable to think that in a red wave, this could get down to about 9.5 points. So that's why this is going to go likely. And that's it for the Dems. Now we've got to plug in the likely states for the GOP. First, we've got Florida, and this is borderline safe. It's Rick Scott. He's probably going to go up against Debbie Mucarsel-Powell. We know the state was very, very red in the midterms, and Scott has won some narrow races in the past, including flipping the Senate seat in 2018 in the blue wave. But I tend to think Scott is kind of a weaker candidate. So right now, I'm going to say his ceiling is at about 9.5 points. Then we're going to head into a competitive state. This is going to be Montana, and this would be a flip and a pickup for the Republicans. Tim Sheehy would take down Jon Tester, and previously I had this as still leans for the Republicans. Since a couple of months ago, I do think the race is getting about 1 or 2 points redder, so that's going to take this from leans up to likely for Tim Sheehy, the Republican. Now we can go down to lean states. These are going to be under 5-point margins, but more than 1 point, and these are going to be on the East Coast, and they're highly debatable. First, in New Jersey, I fully expect Andy Kim, the Democrat, to be the next senator from New Jersey, but there's still some lingering questions about Bob Menendez. If he actually is on the ballot, I would expect him to pull a little bit away from Kim. Now, on the Republican side, they did not get the Trump-endorsed candidate. They've got Curtis Bashaw as their nominee. So I think it's borderline lean likely, but in this, we're going to say Kim does not run the greatest campaign. Bashaw does, and also Menendez is still kind of on the side. That's going to get this down to about a 4.5-point margin for Kim. Next in Maryland, we've got Larry Hogan against Angela Alsobrooks. It's a very, very blue state. I would be stunned if he were able to pull off the upset, but if anybody's going to do it, it's going to be Hogan. So this is also borderline lean likely. It's still a little bit too early to gauge the strength of Hogan. In this, he's going to make it competitive, but he's still going to come up short. I would say it's still going to be at least 4 points in goal leans for Alsobrooks. And then we've got Virginia. We've got Tim Kaine for the Dems. We've got Hung Kao for the Republicans. This is going to be another one to watch as we get closer and closer to November. Hung Kao could run a great campaign, and voters might be getting a little sick of Kaine. He's still going to win the seat, but in this, it is going to be under 5 points. It's going to go down to leans. Now we've got the lean states for the GOP. Out west, we've got Nevada. There's not a lot to say here. Sam Brown would defeat incumbent Democrat Jackie Rosen at least by 1 or 2 points, so it is going to go leans. And then next door in Arizona, this would be Kari Lake defeating Ruben Gallego by at least a couple of points. On a regular night, it's going to be an uphill climb for Lake, but in this scenario, she is going to get it by a lean margin. Then we're going to head into the Rust Belt. We've got Michigan. Here's an open seat between expected nominees Alyssa Slotkin for the Dems and Mike Rogers for the GOP. I think on a regular night, Slotkin has the advantage. advantage. In this, Rogers is going to get the job done. He's going to get it at least by 1 or 2 points, so it is going to go leans. And then we've got the Buckeye State, we've got Ohio. In this, Bernie Moreno is going to take down 3-term incumbent Sherrod Brown. The state is going to flip, and that would be another pickup for the GOP after Nevada, Arizona, as well as Michigan. It's expected to easily go red for Trump at the top of the ticket, and this Brown is not going to run double digits ahead of Biden. So now we've got 2 states left, and these are going to be the tilt margins of 1 point or less. So first in Wisconsin, this is going to be incumbent Democrat Tammy Baldwin against Eric Hovde, the GOP challenger. Hovde has ran in the past. I don't think he's that strong of a candidate. Baldwin won easily in the 2018 blue wave, but it is Wisconsin. They have a Democrat and a Republican as their 2 senators. Anything could happen. I just don't think Hovde is really a top-tier candidate, but in this, he's going to be able to narrowly flip the state by a tilt margin. Finally, we've got Pennsylvania. We've again got a 3-term incumbent, Bob Casey, against David McCormick, the Republican challenger. I do think Casey is a powerhouse name in this state. I would be pretty surprised if Casey went down. The polling has consistently shown it a little bit more competitive than I've been expecting. Last time I had this is going tilt for the Democrats, even in a red wave. In this, I guess I'm going to move it just about 1 point toward the right. I'm going to say McCormick is somehow going to get the job done, and Casey is going to come up short. So that is going to be a narrow flip and another pickup for the Republicans. So that final map is going to come out to 57 seats for the Republicans, 43 for the Democrats. And for right now, I think this is pretty much the top of the mountain for the Republicans. It's going to be debatable about some of the margins in New Mexico and some of the states on the East Coast, but to me, this seems reasonable enough if everything pretty much goes the Republicans' way. Of course, I'm going to update this as we go, as we have more information and we get through more primaries and more candidates are known. It's exciting times in politics, but I tried to fill out the map as fairly as I could. So let me know in the comments, what do you think about this scenario? Could the optimal night for the GOP result in 57 seats? Do you have them getting less, maybe 55, or do you somehow have them even flipping another seat? What are the most critical or the dark horse states that you're taking a look at? Let me know down below on your way out. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Join if you'd like to support the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.